everyone. Welcome to DappsnDefi, where our priority is to get passive income for the whole fam. And I'm actually gonna share, my appreciation with everyone who has been supporting the channel, who's been subscribing, who's been liking the videos and commenting on my videos. I really appreciate you guys a whole lot. And that's amazing to see the growth that I've been experiencing, that we've been experiencing. And shout out to the Mafia. That's been helpful to my channel, being a part of that too, because we promote each other's channels, and I really love our team. So check out the links to the Mafia, the Mafia. They'll be in the description. And I'm going to start off by saying some things that I've been observing in the DeFi space in a lot of areas in life. Just this FUD, this negativity that everyone's experiencing. Not everyone, everyone else basically who isn't experiencing it in a positive way is facing a lot of adversity because they're afraid and stuff. But specifically with DeFi, there's a lot of people who just want to FUD their own bags and stuff, and it's just not good to be doing that for a lot of reasons. So I just want people to know that, and make sure that they're up to date on what they're investing into, rather than just kind of investing for the sake of it and just because someone else told them to. Because I'm not here to tell you to invest, and if you don't feel comfortable doing something, then you probably shouldn't do it necessarily. But to be honest, I'm in more than one project. I'm in every project that you could see pulled up on here. I'm looking to get into this one. This is because it's risk management, in my opinion, to diversify. So this is the Bandit project. It's new. It's going to be starting out pretty soon here. So check out the videos. I know Dapper Don has posted some. So go to the website in the description. Check out his videos if you want to see how this one's going to be working. But this is to minimize my own FUD, because if I was in let's say one project and then that project happens to rug or fail, then I would be pretty sad. I would be pretty disappointed, and I wouldn't be too happy about that at all. I would be upset. Let's say I put everything into this project right here called Furio, and this is just a random example, but let's say, for instance, that Furio, it was looking so good, it couldn't be bad. So instead of putting in 1,000 into this project, 1,000 into that one, and diversifying my bag, I put in all my money into this one. Instead of putting, let's say we had $7,000, and we put in 7,000 into here instead of 1,000 into 7 different dApps that we liked, and then all of a sudden Furio just kind of tanks somehow, which probably would never happen, but we never know. No one knows the future at all. So it's we don't know what the future holds for us, and that could always be a learning lesson too. If this project failed, I could be well, at least I put in my other 6,000 into all these other projects that I hope is going to do well too. So that's how you minimize risk. And let's take a smaller amount. If you only have $100 to work with, or $70 to keep the numbers similar, $70, put 10 into 7 different projects, and then start to build your bags up in all of them. And that way you minimize your risk, instead of putting $70 into the first one that someone on YouTube makes a video about because you think that they're right and they got you hypnotized with the whatever they have in their videos, the flashy things and the flashy colors and all that stuff, whatever they're using, which is good and fine to use, but you got to know who's who and like use discretion when you're taking in any sort of information. And yeah, that's basically my thing that I just kind of wanted to express, because I was just observing like in different chat rooms and stuff, just stuff like that going on where people are are unsure about what they've already invested into. And it's like, instead of that, why don't you just start to be more positive about it, because you're invested into it. And if you know, Joe Schmo down the street decides to join the Telegram of that project, and then he sees you saying like, sees someone just FUDing their own bag in there, like talking all this, you know, crap about the devs or the project and why they're not making the money they thought they were going to be making, well then Joe Schmo isn't going to invest, you know? Because he's going to see like, oh, this project must be doing really bad because of what someone who was FUDing their bag was talking about. So they're actually hurting the project, you know, because the more people invested, the more likely it will succeed, the project, as far as the dev team being good and not rugging and everything like that. If all goes swimmingly, except, you know, maybe the price is down, but someone's over there just kind of, you know, talking crap, and then they just basically are pushing future investors away from the project too by doing that. So try to keep a more positive but balanced outlook on things, you know. Be aware, you know, if it's going down, it might be time to take what you need or what you want out of it. But me personally, it's like, when I see a project that's pretty low, I'm looking at it as it's time to start investing into it, because that means that, you know, come the bull market, I'll have a much better chance of success with that project and stuff. Like, we have to work with the market and work with the project, not against it. Go with the current so you can build that bag, get that bag. Yo. So that's one thing I've learned a lot about through my experiences so far with investing, with being in the DeFi space, with making videos, with being in different Telegram groups. And the only group I'm in where it's generally more positive is like the Don's house. So check out the Don's house if you want someone to come home to, somewhere to come home to, and some people who are just gonna vibe with you instead of FUDing their own bags and stuff like that. Like, yeah, I mean, everyone can get a little upset when they see a project not doing what they think it's gonna do. But like I said, you know, you gotta think smarter, not harder. So like, think about what's gonna work in the long haul. So that's my strategy, is I'm getting into all these different projects. This is just a sample of some of the ones I'm in. Like, I have more over here. Like, some of them, a lot of these haven't worked, but I never put in more than I was really willing to risk losing. So I'm happy with my investments. Like, I made some mistakes where I invested a little more than I was willing to lose, and that made me have a little bit of anxiety. So it taught me a lesson, you know, don't risk more than you're willing to potentially lose, because there is that potential always, you know. But I'm only investing now how much I'm willing to potentially lose into projects that I think are going to succeed, like not just throwing it around willy-nilly and stuff. Like right here, I'm about to compound this up to get that bag up, but you know, I can't say like which one's my favorite or which one's gonna do the best, because no one has that crystal ball. but I just like to put in the ones that I'm into at the time and that I feel like are gonna have that long-term sustainability and long-term success for everyone. And that's what I'll make videos about. I'm not gonna be like shilling some BS project that isn't going anywhere, that I could tell is probably gonna rug or something worse, you know? And hey, just compounded that bag up, so getting that Piston token up. And you know, Piston has been coming through. They've been showing themselves and what their true colors are, and like they're constantly working. That's what I see from the teams. So shout out to the devs on Piston token, you know. That's a good project. I personally would put as much as I was willing to risk into this project, which I've already done. Now it's just about compounding it up. So I've already made my investments here, and now's the time, because you know, it's pretty cheap right now. So time to get that bag up if you're willing to take these risks. But don't get into these things if you're not willing to, you know, like, and especially if you do get into them, don't put in more than you're willing to potentially lose, for sure, because that's just, it's not gonna end up going too well, because like I said, I've done it too, and it just gives me a little bit of anxiety, because I'm like, dang, like I can't afford to lose this much money, and like, you know, so. But at the same time, with most of them, I've been very disciplined about not putting in more than I'm willing to potentially lose. So even if I lose from the ones that I put in too much, which was really only like 1 or 2 projects, then I'll be okay, hopefully, because I have the other ones to kind of balance it out. But even though I put in a lot of money into a lot of these, even if I see it going down, the last thing that I would think to do is to go into the Telegram of that project and start spreading fear and FUD about the project, because that's going to push future investors away from it. And that's not smart, because you're going to lose ground that way very quickly. And it can happen to basically anyone. So you got to be watchful of what you're saying and the information, like what you're listening to as well, because we'll have all these different things going on in these different groups, and you might just hop in randomly and see like 10 negative messages when most of the group isn't actually upset about it. It's just that the only people who are saying things are the ones who have something to complain about or something negative to really say. So you gotta also be aware that if you have a good message, then start putting that out here so that people can like hear it and actually see the better side of the light at the end of the tunnel, you know? Because a lot of people who invest in these projects are actually good at investing, and they're keeping positive mindsets about it. And a lot of the ones who are basically not doing that are the ones who are the fudders, and they're too scared or whatever. They're not feeling comfortable or safe in the same thing that they invested to. So, and that's just facts. So it's just, you got to be aware that those people who are talking aren't walking. You know what I mean? So definitely, if you have a YouTube channel or if you want to make YouTube videos, do that if you want to, because I bet you most of the people who are FUDing aren't doing that. So if we can start putting out the message of like, hey, we should be investing into these projects if we want to make financial freedom a reality for ourselves as a collective, then you should be doing that. I recommend it, because we are making these ripples in the network and changing the way that people might perceive these different outlets of passive income for generational wealth, like H&W Refinery. Like, all these potential things could be a reality for us, and we are the biggest part of it, because without the investors, these projects, they wouldn't even, these projects would have no purpose if there weren't a team behind it, and if there weren't a team of investors investing into it. So we have more power than most people realize. So we should be putting positivity into these projects and not negativity. Like, yeah, I get it. You may feel a little bad about your investment, but that's why you also should look into diversifying your bag, because that's gonna boost up and elevate your whole vibration, because you're gonna feel like a higher mood because you're like, ooh, I'm making this money. Like, you may be making money on one project and then like on another one it's going down, but it balances itself out. Then the likelihood of both of them succeeding in the bear market is even that much higher too. So everything in life has to go up and go down and go through that fluctuation. It's just the natural course of life. Look at a wave. It's always going up, it's crashing, then the new one comes. Like the ocean, you know, it's just a wave. We gotta ride these waves and get on as many waves so that we can compound those waves together and build like a whole tidal wave, like a whole tsunami, you know? Like, we're about to ride the biggest wave and surf it like the Maverick, you know? We're gonna ride that wave. So that's just what I'm saying. And like, I'm not giving financial advice on this video. This is not what this is, so don't take it that way. But I honestly, for myself, I would personally say that I would want to get into at least 7 good projects and get a solid bag built up. But my goal is to be in as many as I can right now. And until I feel comfortable with my investments, however many I have, then I'll start branching out into new areas and doing new things. But I'm just compounding my bags in the many that I have right now. And a lot of them, about half of them, I've ROI'd in now. So I'm pleased about that. And then I also learned a lot along the way. So you'll learn so much by experience and trying something new. So you can do anything that you want to. You just gotta apply yourself and do your due diligence. Alright guys, that's about it for this one. Shout out to the DD Mafia. Check them out. Links will be in the description. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment if you like this video. And I'm out, so have a good night.